Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast.
Woo!
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Abby. Are we in double digits? Double digits?
10!
Wow.
Double digits, y'all. Last episode might have been a little short, but that's only because today's episode is ginormously, epic.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
It's been hard because the trailers for the new show
Don't look at them!
I know. I've been everywhere, and it's really hard for me to be like, no, my eyes. And my For You page on my Instagram and TikTok and stuff is very zoned into my interests of stuff like that. So it's this is what you want to see. I'm like, it's not though. I don't want to see it. Ah!
Well, and then your mom and my mom is guilty of doing the same thing. She'll see something on the internet and be like, oh, it's Lord of the Rings. I'm sure Ashley or Abby wants to see this. And she said, your mom sent it to both of us. And I'm like, no, Abby, don't.
My eyes. I had to do put my hand over the screen, scroll past. Don't look.
Don't look. No. She meant well.
Hey, props to a mom who knows what her kids' hobbies and interests are and wants to be like, I know you'd like this. Here you go. It's got raisins in it.
Exactly.
You like raisins.
You like raisins.
Yeah. It was nice, but also I can't yet. I'm not there. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But that's been hard, is avoiding those the trailers. I don't watch trailers in general. I am a huge Marvel person. I love Marvel. I don't watch trailers because I want to just enjoy the cinematic experience with no well, not spoilers. I just feel like trailers nowadays give away a lot.
Yeah.
And so I try not to watch them. And so I am doing the same with this new Lord of the Rings show. So I haven't seen any trailers for it. I've seen stills and pictures, but I haven't seen any.
Well, even the pictures, man.
I know, but they're beautiful. They're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Anyway, okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So, what do you remember about last week? If you say nothing, I'm quitting right now.
No. I did it. There was I don't remember which elf, I'm going to call them mayors, which elf mayor
mayor
got married and had a kid, and then his wife died. And out of exhaustion of having a child, which,
get it.
I feel that sometimes. I feel that, especially today. And her son was named Feanor.
Feanor, yeah.
And I kinned him to a Tony Stark character, where he was very smart, very driven, kind of solo, doesn't really want anybody's help or being told what to do. And he is an engineer of sorts, I guess, not an inventor, but
they describe him as a smith.
Yeah, he can make things really well. And Melkor, it got out on good behavior, or so they say.
So they think.
And he's out in the world now, and he's is he talking to Feanor? Is he around the place where the people who know Feanor?
Oh, he's free Feanor walking around. He's just,
I know, but does he commune with him?
Yeah.
Or is he just, he knows he's out and he hasn't really talked to him in person yet?
I think Feanor is keeping his distance. Because he likes to work solo. He's just
healthy boundaries.
But Melkor is out and about with the Noldor a lot.
Okay.
So just to kind of fill in the gaps, King Finwë
That's who it
is the mayor that you were referring to.
was.
He is the leader of the Noldor. He was married to Muriel. Muriel's the one who died shortly after giving birth to Feanor due to exhaustion, or as we theorized, possibly postpartum.
Yeah.
um, and then Finwë gets remarried later to Eindis of the Vanyar.
Oh yeah, his stepmom, and they don't like each other. Well,
Uh-huh.
this Feanor doesn't like her.
Right. And he certainly doesn't like the two half brothers that he gets,
The wicked stepbrothers.
Fingolfin and Finnerfin.
Yeah, duh. Who would like a guy with that name?
And then Feanor gets married to one of Aule's greatest smith's daughters, and her name is Nerdanel. We decided that that's a horrible name.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Unfortunate.
they have 7 sons together that we will meet later, but just know that he's got quite a brood. Um, And then I feel like you touched on it pretty well, but I just want to reemphasize that Feanor is very special. Remember when his mom Muriel gave birth to him? She said she could not have any more children because, quote, for strength that would have nourished the life of many has gone forth into Feanor.
Oh, so he kind of like stole her energy.
Yes. Which, as a mom, I firmly believe they can somehow like almost like Dementor suck the energy from me.
Yeah.
That is what children do.
Play with me.
As he was growing up, he, quote, grew swiftly as if a secret fire were kindled within him. What's funny is I feel like Feanor gives off redhead vibes because of all this talk of fire and stuff, but he's very dark. He's got very dark hair, but fire is definitely a consistent theme with him.
He's got fire in his eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe he has piercing blue eyes.
It said piercing eyes. I don't know what didn't say what color, but we can say blue. And then Tony Stark vibes of like working on his own, being very steadfast and but also very stubborn, like Tony Stark. And in the pursuit of all his purposes, eager and steadfast, few ever changed his courses by counsel, none by force. For Feanor was driven by the fire of his heart only. Very Tony Stark.
You know what? He's true to himself.
Yes.
He's a strong-willed man, but he's not a bad guy. So he's like
No.
putting it forth in healthy, productive ways.
I want you to remember that you said that.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got high hopes
Had high
for
hopes.
my man.
Okay. So are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, and also remember that Melkor is free. He's pretending to be everyone's friend. He has his mind set on the Noldor as the group of elves that he thinks is the most easily corruptible. And unfortunately, the Noldor actually kind of take it. They are, yeah. Quote, but the Noldor took delight in the hidden knowledge that he could reveal to them, and some hearkened to his works that it would have been better for them to never have heard. So they are very vulnerable, unfortunately.
Ugh, come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, up to this point, they didn't have any evil really around them. Like, they're just this naive little race that, nothing bad ever happened.
They showed
right?
it. He showed them some of his EPs, some of his early music. His, and he got them hooked on that, and so that's why they started turning.
Yes. So this chapter is actually very momentous. Everything that happens later in the book all started from the actions of this chapter.
Okay. Whew, I'm ready.
Quote, Mandos foretold that the fates of Arda, earth, sea, and air lay locked within. What happens next, basically.
Oh, that's very
Mm-hmm.
Ominous. And
Uh-huh.
yikes.
Yeah.
Way to read the room, Mandos. I mean, come on.
He does
Like,
not read the room very well.
they're like, it's like a birthday party. They're like, happy birthday. And he's like, sorry to tell you guys this.
This is the moment where everything is going to go down.
This is the moment where
Yes.
everything sucks.
Um, and just a warning, because of the epicness of the coming events, I will be using quotes a lot just because I feel like that helps tell the story.
Okay.
Of course, I will paraphrase in our own way, but some of the quotes are just so epic, I have to use them.
Oh,
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Okay. So Feanor, our Smith, our Tony Stark, our never idle mind, hands, inventor guy, he wants to make something new. And he was, quote, filled with a new thought. Or it may be that some shadow of foreknowledge came to him of the doom that drew near. And he pondered how the light of the trees, the glory of the blessed realm, might be preserved imperishable.
Hmm.
So basically, he just wants to make, he's like wondering, you know, how can I preserve the light of the trees just in case something happens to them? How can I preserve them to make them last forever?
Okay. I mean, it's a good thought.
It's a good thought, yeah. So he starts working in secret. And in the end, he makes the Silmarils.
Ooh. I'm sure they're important because the book
There.
is called The Silmarillion.
Indeed. Now, what are Silmarils, I hear you ask? You
That
asked
is
it, right?
exactly
Yeah.
what I asked.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what we do know. So, the Silmarils look like three great jewels, but no one knows exactly what they're made of. In fact, Tolkien makes a point of saying, like, maybe we'll find out at the end of time, basically, but for now, we don't know.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Tolkien.
Like he makes this like whole like maybe when the sun dries up, maybe when the moon is like he just goes on, but we don't know now. Like
Man, Tolkien's like a parent. They're like, Mom, can we go to the park? Maybe tomorrow. And then, like, the next day, it's tomorrow. Can we go to the park? Maybe. Like, he just keeps holding it off. He doesn't want to tell
yes.
us.
Nope. Mystery. So no one knows what they're made of. They look like, quote, the crystal of diamonds, and yet was more strong than adamant, so that no violence could mar it or break it.
Adamant?
Adamant.
Like,
Adamantium.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
The crystal itself is described as the house of its inner fire and is its life. So it's like alive, contained within a crystal.
So, the visual in my head is in the Hobbit movie when they find the Arkenstone. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Where it's like glowy, but it's like you said, like it's alive.
Yes. There is a theory about that I will get to later.
Ooh.
So this inner fire that is in the stones, the Silmarils, was actually the blended light of the two trees of Valinor.
Ooh. Pretty.
So even in the dark, the Silmarils, quote, shone like the stars of Varda, and yet, as were they indeed living things, they rejoiced in light and received it and gave it back in hues more marvelous than before.
Oh.
So for some reason, I thought of like, and this isn't, I thought of like a will o' the wisp,
Yeah.
and just the fact that it's alive and it could like brighten and dim as it wanted to. That's the only
Yes.
reason I thought of that, but just that kind of glowing light that was alive.
So he made them.
Yes.
He like took the light from both trees and he smithed this.
Correct.
Because he didn't want, if there was anything bad to happen, he would at least have these.
Correct.
Okay.
Quote, and Varda hallowed the Silmarils so that thereafter no mortal flesh, nor hands unclean, nor anything of evil will might touch them, but it was scorched and withered. So basically, anything that touches the Silmarils that is evil would burn them.
Oh, like, sorry. It just reminds me, because we just finished reading them as a family. We just finished reading Harry Potter, but it reminds me of when Dumbledore puts the ring
Yes.
on and then it like makes his hand all nasty.
Yes. Very Horcrux vibes. But the other way, so instead of an evil thing giving off
Positive Horcrux.
a happy Horcrux.
Yeah. Happy Horcrux.
Unfortunately, though, quote, the heart of Feanor was fast bound to these things that he himself had made. Sound familiar?
Oh. Did he put his fire in there?
Possibly.
Like a Horcrux?
Like a Horcrux. So he has these jewels, and how is he going to display them? You know, does he make a necklace? Does he make a ring? He decides he is going to make a sort of crown for the Silmarils to fit in.
Ooh.
And then he wears them, quote, blazing on his brow.
Ooh.
He only wore this crown at special occasions, but otherwise he had them locked away.
What would be a special occasion to wear this crown?
It says feasts, which I thought was a weird thing, but
His birthday,
his birthday, holidays.
Christmas.
Unfortunately, he started to love them with, quote, a greedy love. He seldom remembered now that the light within them was not his own.
Oh.
Because technically the light was Yavanna's because she was the one who created the two trees.
Yeah.
Which, it doesn't explain this, but like, how did no one see, like, did he take like a leaf from the trees and that's how he made it? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, are they like guarded so like no one can touch them? Or are they like
Right.
free to like, this is something beautiful we made? Because it reminds me of, they made all those like beautiful stones and gems and stuff. And they're like, here, everyone,
Right.
we don't need all these. Here you go.
Yeah.
And I feel like she made those trees for the elves
Right.
anyway.
But could you just pick off a leaf of them or a flower?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
You weren't there, Abby?
I know.
That's my question, though. So he does have like an unnatural love for the Silmarils. He did let his father and his sons wear the crown occasionally, but it was very begrudgingly. He wanted the Silmarils either locked away in safety or on him.
Greedy.
So you got this really cool shiny thing. Who else do we know that likes shiny?
Crows? No.
Me. I love
yeah, it's
shiny.
you.
It's me. Melkor actually loves shiny things. Quote, the very memory of their radiance was a gnawing fire in his heart.
Oh. He like looks all goth, he looks all scary and dark and gross, but he's like, I love sparkly stuff. I just love it.
I want some bling, y'all.
I love them sparklies.
So the only way he can think to get these Silmarils for himself was to separate the elves from the Valar. Because the Valar are kind of like not a threat to him necessarily, but they could stop Melkor if they wanted to. So if the elves are separated from the Valar, then they're more easy prey.
Because he's afraid of them.
Right. So he's got to break this bond between the elves and the Valar up.
Yeah.
Quote, long was he at work, and slow at first, and barren was his labor. But He that sows lies in the end shall not lack of a harvest, and soon he may rest from toil indeed, while others reap and sow in his stead.
Oh, he sends his interns.
Yes. And this I feel like is like Melkor's like motto. It's his like manifesto. This sums his like life's work perfectly. He loves to, he's in it for the long game. He likes to spread lies and rumors, and he's so good at it that by the end he doesn't have to do anything. He just lets other people just, reap and sow his craftiness on their own.
Yes.
Super cunning and crafty.
A CEO of evil.
Yes. And he was just so cunning that by the end, like they don't remember where these ideas and these rumors are coming in from. In fact, they try to remember later and they are sure that they came up with the ideas on their own. He's that good.
It's kind of like a Tom Sawyer, but bad.
Quote, bitterly did the Noldor atone for the folly of their open ears in the days that followed after.
So he's trying to separate them so they don't have their bodyguards of the Valar.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like being cunning and trying to get. I might be confused in my brain. Are like the people that he's conning to do his work for him, are those elves or are those not?
Those are elves. Yeah, because he's been pretending to be their friend, and he's been like teaching them cool stuff. And
He doesn't have his orcs with him anymore.
no, he is a lone person by
Mm.
himself on Valinor.
And they didn't all die. They're like hiding, the orcs and stuff.
Yes, on Middle Earth.
Okay, so he's being malicious
Hmm.
and scary.
So he's has like a plan of what lies he's going to tell the Noldor to get them to separate from the Valar. The main ones that he focuses on is, you know what? This area here in Valinor that the Valar gave you, it's so small. You could have a grand realm if you moved back to Middle Earth.
Oh.
You'd have way more space. You'd have your own realm.
Ooh. I mean, that's very enticing.
Yeah, got a point. His other point is the only reason the Valar invited you guys to Valinor is because they are scared of you. They think that you're going to like develop into this like master race and make things that are so cool that the Valar are going to be jealous of you. And then at that point, you just be too hard to control and govern. So they're just going to keep you kind of captive here so that you can be more easily controlled.
He's lying in a sense of saying like, these guys aren't here to do good for you. They're not helping.
Mm-hmm.
They're just keeping you captive.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sneaky little snake. It's a lion.
That's the thing. Like they got like a hint of like, well, you have a point. He is the devil on the shoulder in freaking Emperor's New Groove. Wait, no.
Yeah.
He's got a point.
Yeah. Yeah. Look what I could do.
That's my favorite part of that whole movie.
What does that have to do with anything?
So the last point that he tries driving in, and this one, man, it's a pretty good ace card. The Valar had actually been keeping a secret from the elves. Why did they keep this a secret? No idea. But the Valar never told the elves that the men were going to come later.
Oh, that's a big thing to keep a secret.
Exactly.
Another race of beings on the earth.
Exactly. So Melkor tells the elves how the Valar kept this a secret because the Valar are going to replace the elves with the men, seeing as how they would be easier to control. They were more weak. They had shorter lifespans, and the Valar were just holding the elves captive until the men arrived.
Oh.
I mean,
He's getting into like the cracks of like their story and making them sound
Uh-huh.
not great.
Yeah, he is super good at this. And so Melkor is stirring this pot of distrust and lies and rumors, and he is just loving it. And the Noldor are starting to freak out, believing all of it,
Uh-huh.
especially forgetting how much they actually owe to the Valar, the protection and safety that they have with them, the fact that they have this awesome land to live on and, the trees and everything. And worst of all, the person who was the most upset by all of the lies and the rumors was, of course, Feanor.
Well, yeah. He's a true steady of like,
Yeah.
guys, I've been telling you this from the beginning.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Quote, fiercest burned the new flame of desire for freedom and wider realms in the eager heart of Feanor. And Melkor laughed in his secrecy. So Feanor is not taking this well. He wants his freedom. He is now seeing the Valar as like jail wardens. He feels like a prisoner. And this is exactly what Melkor wants. He is just loving that Feanor, of all people, is the most mad about this because this is exactly what he wants. He wants Feanor away from the Valar.
Yeah.
The rest of the Noldor are just a bonus. But Feanor is really the guy he's after because he's got those pretty shiny rocks that he wants.
Pretty shiny rock.
And now Melkor puts the nail in the coffin. He starts spreading lies about Feanor's half-brother, Fingolfin, who is the elder of the two half-brothers, and therefore the next prince in line after Feanor.
Ooh.
So Melkor uses the known strange relationship between Feanor and his two half-brothers and spreads lies to Feanor that his two half-brothers are going to usurp Feanor and his father Finwë. And better yet, that the Valar will help them do that because they don't like that Feanor keeps the Silmarils in Tirion, where the Noldor live, and not with them in Valinor.
Oh.
Very medieval.
Yeah. He's playing into the also that he already hates them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like perfect fuel.
Yeah.
And then Melkor spreads lies to Fingolfin and Finarfin, the two half-brothers, that Feanor obviously has no love for his new half-family. And now that he has this great power because of the Silmarils, and he has his father's love and devotion, Feanor is going to kick you guys out. He doesn't need you guys. So he's going to drive you away from Tirion.
Oh, no.
Which, it's plausible.
Yeah. It could happen.
It could happen. So now that Melkor has gotten both sides of the family all riled up, he adds even more fuel to the fire.
Okay.
He says, hey, hey, can I tell you a secret? Have you ever thought about, I don't know, weapons?
Uh-oh.
Up to this point, weapons were not necessary. Like maybe as hunting tools, but defensive weapons weren't a thing.
They weren't fighting against anybody.
They weren't fighting. Exactly. So everyone starts making swords, shields,
Here's a gun. No.
axe, spears. And they even start making little like tokens or emblems of their houses or kin groups. But funny enough, everyone is doing this in secret. They didn't know that the other houses were arming themselves too. They thought they were the only ones who were told they should start making weapons.
Oh. Ruh-roh.
Yeah. And of course, Feanor also gets in on the weapon making. And he makes swords for himself, his sons, and he made, this is an interesting choice, quote, tall helms with plumes of red.
Very Roman.
Yes. So I obviously think of Gilmore Girls.
What part?
When Lane is in the marching band and she goes, do I look stupid in this hat? Doesn't look like fountains of blood are shooting out of my head.
Yeah.
That's where my brain went.
She's my favorite.
I know she's your favorite. That's why I said it. So now that everyone's real riled up, Feanor starts getting on a soapbox and he starts telling everyone that he is going to rebel against these Valar that are keeping them captive, or he likes the word thraldom a lot. Enthraldom.
Thraldom.
And he is going to leave Valinor and go back to Middle Earth. Who's with me?
Yeah.
So Feanor is stirring everyone up. Melkor is stirring everyone up. There is a lot of freaking out happening. So Finwë, Feanor's father and the king of the Noldor, decides to hold a council meeting to figure out what to do.
Okay.
So Finwë's at the council meeting. He's there early, getting everything ready for the meeting. No one has shown up yet. And then Fingolfin, the eldest son of Indis, the half-brother, bursts in and asks Finwë, what are we going to do about Feanor? How can we get him to calm down? Quote, "Wilt thou not restrain the pride of our brother? By what right does he speak for all our people as if he were king?"
I see that.
Valid point.
Uh-huh.
Valid point. And then Fingolfin continues basically saying that, it was Finwë who got everyone to accept the invitation to Valinor. Finwë who led them through the tough times on the road from Middle Earth all the way to Eldamar.
Uh-huh.
And so it was all Finwë's idea, not the Valar necessarily. Quote, and this is Fingolfin talking, "If thou dost not now repent of it, 2 sons at least thou hast to honor thy words." I was kind of confused by this at first, but I basically feel like he is saying here that it wasn't the Valar who forced the elves to come to Valinor. It was Finwë who accepted the invitation and led them there. So if Finwë isn't sorry for doing that, then he, Fingolfin, and his brother Finarfin would stand by his words and actions, and they would defend him against Feanor or anyone else who wants to blame him instead of the Valar.
Oh.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like this is a very honorable thing to do. He's standing by his dad. He is trying to, be honorable here.
He's like, hey, he did the right thing in the moment of like, this is what everybody wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, if they didn't want to go, they could stay, Lots of the elves stayed where they wanted to. They weren't forced to go anywhere.
Exactly. So I don't feel like Fingolfin did anything wrong here. However, Feanor happened to walk in at the tail end of this conversation, and he is pissed. Quote, "Feanor strode into the chamber, and he was fully armed, his high helm upon his head, and at his side a mighty sword." And he says, "So it is, even as I guessed," he said. "My half-brother would be before me with my father, in this as in all other matters." Then turning upon Fingolfin, he drew his sword, crying, "Get thee gone, and take thy due place."
Epic.
Get
thee hence.
Get thee hence. So first of all, I think Feanor already had trouble on his mind. I mean, he showed up to the meeting fully armed even before he heard the conversation. Just saying.
Yeah, geez.
Just saying.
Calm down. Let's bring it down.
Second of all, I have a really hard time being on Feanor's side here, and I mainly feel bad for Fingolfin. He was just trying to do the right thing by his father, and Feanor just immediately reads the situation as Fingolfin is trying to take my place and my father away from me, and not Fingolfin is trying to defend my father from any people who might blame him for them coming to Valinor.
Yeah, why does he hate his dad now?
Right. So, anyways, after Feanor basically tells Fingolfin to get out of his spot, that's my spot next to my daddy.
That's my chair.
And to get to know his place, which is obviously below me, Fingolfin actually doesn't respond at all. He just bows to his father, the king, and he leaves.
Hey, props to taking the high road.
Exactly.
That's what I teach my kids. I'm like, if there's any contention, just walk away. Just walk away.
So Feanor doesn't know how to do that. So Feanor, he just can't leave things be. The fire is, yeah, I feel like the fire is still in his veins. And he follows Fingolfin outside the house where everyone can see. Feanor stops Fingolfin, puts a sword to his chest, and says, "See, half-brother, this is sharper than thy tongue. Try but once more to usurp my place and the love of my father, and maybe it will rid the Noldor of one who seeks to be the master of thralls."
Wow. Sheesh.
Yeah. Feanor, you are misreading the situation.
I mean, that's a pretty epic threat, though.
Uh-huh. He just loves this thrall word too. So if Doom is Mandos's catchphrase, Thrall is Feanor's. Thrall and fire is Feanor's. So, like I said, this was done in plain view in front of everyone. But Fingolfin still doesn't say anything. He just passes by silently and goes to find his brother Finner.
Again, loving the bow down, back away, no confrontation, no need for bloodshed. Let's not get heated here.
Mm-hmm. So, this huge public display of how out of hand things have gotten for the Noldor, this is just proving to the Valar that they need to do something. So, they summon Feanor to appear before the Valar at their council meeting spot, the Ring of Doom.
A happy place.
A happy place. Feanor is asked to answer for all that he has said and done, and others were asked to tell what they had seen or heard Feanor do. And then, standing before Mandos, who is basically like the Valar's judge, Feanor told his side of the story.
Yeah.
And I am shocked that they didn't record this side of the story because I feel like Feanor would have just like said some epic stuff. And basically, somehow from his story, they figure out that Melkor was actually the root of all the trouble.
Oh, they found out.
They found out. So immediately, my man Tolkas leaves to go find Melkor.
I can see him like slamming his fists on the table, like, I knew it!
Exactly.
I knew it!
Exactly.
Where is he? Where is he?
But in the meantime, Feanor still needs to answer for the things he had done, especially for drawing a sword against his half-brother, his kinsman.
Yeah.
And that's not very nice, Feanor.
Yeah.
Quote, Mandos said to him, "Thou speakest of thraldom? If thraldom it be, thou canst not escape it. For Manwë is king of Arda, and not of Aemon only. And this deed was unlawful, whether in Aemon or not in Aemon. Therefore, this doom," his favorite word, "is now made. For 12 years thou shalt leave Tirion, where this threat was uttered. In that time, take counsel with thyself, and remember who and what thou art. But after that time, this matter shall be set in peace and held redressed, if others will release thee."
Wow. You know, it's a very cool, it's not, I don't know if it's like a sentence, like, you are sentenced to do this.
Right. He is sentenced to exile.
Yeah, a banishment kind of situation. But it's not like, it's like, hey man, this isn't you.
Yeah.
This isn't you. How about you go
Why don't you go take a time out?
restart, like reset,
Reevaluate.
what's going on, like calm down a little bit, take a breather, like relax. And we know this isn't you. This isn't what you're about. So let's just
Right.
like go on a walkabout.
Yeah.
Go on a walkabout, and you can like find yourself again, because this isn't you, man.
Yeah. And I feel like it did need to be said, like, hey, even if you go to Middle Earth, Monway's still the main guy in charge. So
Yeah.
you can't escape that. So,
Yeah.
but what I found interesting, but after that time, this matter shall be set in peace and held redressed if others will release thee. Like, hey, if they say it's all good, we'll call it good.
Uh-huh.
So immediately, Fingolfin, this guy just has my heart, he volunteers to release him right then and there.
What? What do you mean release him?
I forgive him. Just let it go. Like, let's just forget this thing ever happened.
I'm not pressing any charges.
Yeah, exactly. But Feanor is silent. He doesn't say a thing, and he just leaves.
Oh. Was he the one that got the knife to his chest?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's I get that. I mean, he didn't say anything bad. He just walked away like, I'm taking my own journey of forgiveness.
No, Feanor leaves.
Oh, I thought you said the guy that was like threatened left again.
No.
Wait, how can he leave? The people who are convicted in a trial.
He leaves to go for his banishment.
Oh, okay.
Fingolfin is basically volunteering to not, like you said, not press charges, no banishment, all is good. And Feanor doesn't say anything. No sorry, no thanks, bro, for trying, but, I should probably, take a minute.
Oh, the silent treatment.
Yes, and Feanor just leaves.
Oh, Feanor leaves.
I feel so bad for Fingolfin. He's trying so hard to be a good half-brother.
I know. Poor guy.
So Feanor goes into banishment. He takes his 7 sons, and they go to the north of Valinor. They stay on Aemon still.
Does his wife go too?
It doesn't mention the wife, which I thought was interesting as well. They make a new home for themselves called Formenos.
Formenos?
Formenos. Formenos.
Formenos?
Formenos.
Formenos?
Formenos. However you want to say it.
Okay.
And it is described as, quote, a multitude of gems laid in hoard, and weapons also, and the Silmarils were shut in a chamber of iron. He's got what's really important to him.
Yeah. And this is where? Like in the geography?
So if Valinor is central of Aemon, this is to the north.
Okay.
No one else is really out there. He's going off on his own.
Well, he had to be banished, so
Exactly.
I don't think he'd be going somewhere where other people were.
Right. So Finwë, Feanor's father and the king of the Noldor, actually comes too. He just loves his son, can't bear to be away from him. Which is kind of ironic because that leaves Fingolfin in Tirion to become the new king of the Noldor.
Oh.
Which is what Melkor had planted in Feanor's mind was gonna happen.
And it happened.
But Feanor made it happen.
I know.
So kind of ironic.
And it happened.
It did happen, but was it Fingolfin who was vying for it? No. It was Feanor's actions that just led it to happen.
It's a good life lesson right there.
So Melkor has been found out. He hasn't been this model citizen that he's been appearing to be. So he goes into hiding. And he actually hides as a, quote, cloud in the hills.
A cloud?
And what is the first thing that came into my brain when I heard that he is now a cloud? It's a song, Abby.
I'm just a little cloud.
Yes!
Hovering over these mountains.
This is why we are best friends. If you don't know, that's Winnie the Pooh, and the contradiction of those two characters in my brain cannot handle.
Wow. Now I know I want to listen to the rest of the song.
I know. I had it stuck in my head for the rest of the time I was preparing this episode, just so you know. So he's a cloud in the hills, and Tolkas can't seem to find him because he's not looking for a cloud.
Yeah.
Although people do note, they're like, you know what's weird? That the light of the trees, it's not as bright as usual. And, the shadows of the buildings appear longer than normal. I don't know how you noticed that, but
Okay, wait. I just looked up the lyrics, and the first verse fits because it's like, I'm just a little black rain cloud hovering, and I'll say, over the mountains. I'm only a little black rain cloud. Well, it's supposed to rhyme with honey tree, and he's like, pay no attention to little me. So that's what he's doing. Hiding. He's hiding.
you need to make that meme immediately. Make it happen, Abby. I demand it. So people in Valinor are noticing these weird shadows, and the trees aren't as bright. Maybe as if there's like a cloud above them or something. I don't know. So Melkor hides as a cloud for a while until he decides to pay his good old buddy Feanor a visit at his new place in Formenos.
Manos. So he could have visitors?
Apparently, it's not it. He just was supposed to go think about what he did in time out, but I don't think it was a prison sentence. He wasn't in prison.
Yeah.
So, what on earth is Melkor going to say to Feanor after all this? After he finds out he was lying to him and, manipulating him to do all these things, what on earth is he going to say?
So Feanor knows that he was manipulated. Like
Yes.
he gets that now, that he was manipulated by the guy that he was like, I knew this from the beginning. He was a bad guy.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, of course, he still fakes his friendship, and he urges him to stick to his previous plan to leave Valinor. Because, of course, if he's away from Valinor, then he's away from those pesky Valar who could help, protect Feanor if Melkor tries to steal his Silmarils.
oh, which he is very protective of.
Right. So Melkor even offers to help Feanor leave, claiming that, I'm just as powerful as the other Valar, quote, more than those who sit in pride in Valimar, which is basically Valinor, and I have ever been a friend to the Noldor, most skilled and most valiant of the people of Arda. Sure, Melkor, sure.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Now, Feanor isn't really sure how to take this. On the one hand, his trial, I guess you can call it, in front of the Valar was pretty humiliating, and he feels pretty bitter at how things went down. So, it might be nice to leave Valinor, especially if Melkor is willing to help him. But on the other hand, Melkor is Melkor, and he doesn't really trust him.
Yeah, who could?
Who could? So Melkor is seeing Feanor's hesitation. You hesitated. And seeing that he is so close to getting his hands on those Silmarils himself, he tries one more tactic. Quote, here's a strong place. He's looking at his little Formenos, and it's well guarded, but think not that the Silmarils will lie safe in any treasury within the realm of the Valar.
Oh.
So no matter where you take them, as long as the Valar are in charge, they're not going to be safe. Unfortunately for Melkor, this was the exact wrong thing to say to Feanor. Now Feanor thinks that everyone is after his precious Silmarils, and now Melkor had, quote, awoke a fire more fierce than he designed. And Feanor looked upon Melkor with eyes that burned through his fair semblance and pierced the cloaks of his mind, perceiving there his fierce lust of the Silmaril. Can you imagine that look?
I want to be able to stare back,
So Feanor's pissed, and he tells Melkor, get thee gone from my gate, thou jail crow of Mandos.
Whoa, what a burn.
I know. I literally said that. Ooh, burn. Quote, and he shut the doors of his house in the face of the mightiest of all the dwellers in Ea.
Whoa.
So good idea, bad idea.
He slammed the door in his face.
So Melkor leaves, quote, in shame, but also, quote, black with anger. He doesn't have anywhere to go, though. He's wanted by the Valar. The elves certainly aren't going to help him. And he doesn't have any allies there on Aemon, even if he wanted to, take on the Valar. He wasn't ready for an assault yet.
Uh-huh.
So he kind of just goes away. Now, Finwë, Feanor's dad, the former king of the Noldor, sees the whole exchange between Feanor and Melkor, and he is scared. He seems to understand more than Feanor that Melkor isn't someone you can just, I don't know, shut the door in his face.
Yeah. I said good day, sir.
So he sends a message to Manwë back in Valinor. Now, the Valar were actually just having a meeting discussing the weird length of the shadows and how the light of the trees was different when Finwë's message arrived. Immediately, Tulkas and Arome want to hunt Melkor down. But then more messages come. Like, how fast are these messengers? The elves in Tirion, so we went from Formenos in the north to Valinor, kind of the central of Aemon. Now we're in Tirion, which is more on the coast and a little south of Valinor.
Okay.
You remember that little gap that they made in the mountains by Tirion with the freaking tuna hill?
Okay. So they could see the light.
Exactly. Calisyria. Apparently, the elves in Tirion report that Melkor has fled through that gap.
Okay.
And that they saw Melkor pass, quote, in wrath as a thundercloud.
Oh.
And then the elves in Alquilande, also on the coast, but maybe a bit more north of Tirion, report that they saw his shadow going by their haven towards Araman. Now, we haven't really talked about Araman a lot. We will definitely later, but just for geographic purposes. So you have Aemon, the big continent, and then you got Middle Earth on the other side of the water, right?
Yes.
To the east. They technically are connected at the very, very north.
Like Russia and Alaska.
Yes, exactly. But when they made the journey, they didn't want to go that way because it's basically all just ice.
Well, yeah.
And it's not very safe. So the area of land just before the ice is called Araman. The lands of ice and islands of ice are called the Helcarax, which is very important later. And then onward would be Middle Earth.
Oh.
So, yeah, like you just said, it's imagine Araman as being kind of like Canada, and then Helcarax would be like Alaska connecting to Russia, kind of a thing.
Okay.
That makes any sense? Are you with me?
I'm getting there.
Okay. So that's where they think that Melkor has gone. Far, far up north. Melkor has disappeared. No one can find him. And the Valar are just dreading. What is he going to do now?
Yeah.
The concealment of being a good guy is off. The gloves are off. He's going to go rogue now.
He showed his true hand.
Exactly. What is he going to do now? Quote, and as a cloud far off that looms ever higher, borne upon a slow, cold wind, a doubt now marred the joy of all the dwellers in Aemon, dreading they knew not what evil that yet might come. Ominous. And I'm going to leave you there today.
Oh, on an ominous note? Fine.
That's how I love to leave it. It's my favorite.
Oh, well, you're right. There was a lot of drama.
Drama.
It's times like this where I'm like, I want to watch a movie of this, or a series or something, because I want to see, like.
I know, right? Mm-hmm. Who would play Feanor though? Would it have to be Robert Downey? But I can't see him with long hair though.
I think he's past his prime.
I suppose.
That would be fun. We should do a thing on the Instagram, like fan casting of like
Yes.
of who would you put as these.
I loved the Benedict Cumberbatch for Melkor. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, okay. Am I wrong? In The Hobbit, he does play Smaug,
Yes.
but doesn't he play something else?
Oh yes, he did.
Like, doesn't he play the like spirit version of Saruman?
Yes. Of Sauron.
Yeah, Sauron.
Yeah. He does.
Okay.
I read that recently. That I think he would be an excellent Melkor.
Yes. I know it's like a really weird casting, but I would love to see Rami Malek as being like one of the elf brothers. You probably don't know who that
Is it bad that I don't know who that is?
is. Did you ever watch Night at the Museum?
Yes.
He's the like Egyptian guy. The like young Egyptian dude.
Oh. Yeah.
Or Twilight. He's also in Twilight.
Yes, he is also in Twilight. Huh. I had to think about that. Ooh, Twilight. That's a new realm of actors.
I know.
No Robert. I'm done with Robert.
What? But he's Batman. He's Batman.
What I loved about your Tony Stark analogy is like in the second one, the Civil War one, you could see both sides of his argument. Like he wasn't a bad guy in Civil War, and Captain America wasn't a bad guy in Civil War. But clearly someone was wrong, but who was?
Yeah, that's what's hard is like you love them both.
But that's why I think it's a perfect example for Feanor because I mean, if you truly thought your brother was like trying to take your place, you would see him as a threat like that.
Yeah. Or he's going to ruin everything.
Right.
Or hurt things.
Yeah.
But then he realizes, oh, it was someone whispering in my ear making me.
Yeah.
It kind of to me ties in the like Thorin Oakenshield Arkenstone situation where he kind of went a little crazy, like he kind of went against his brothers and cousins and family because of a selfish kind of situation.
Yeah. Would he have gone to the lengths that he did if the Silmarils weren't invented? He didn't like his half brothers, but there never was any description of stories or anything about them having full on arguments or anything.
So the moral of the story from Tolkien for a lot of his stories, I guess, is shiny things are bad. Shiny things ruin lives.
Shiny things are bad. There is a meme that I'm going to post that I can finally now post it because it's funny. I had this like Pinterest board with all these sections of like different things, and I have just like this big one of future chapters that I can't post yet because we're not there.
Yes.
So I'm like, I can post these now. That the title should not have been the Silmarillion. It should have been the Lord of the Blings. And I will stand on this hill.
I mean, he's got the One Ring. He's got the Silmarils. He's got the Arkenstone. He's got the trees, like the light things, the big towers. He's like anything shiny and pretty ruins lives.
Yes.
It ruins everything.
I was actually going to tell you, I said we get to it later, the Silmaril versus the Arkenstone argument. It is actually a heated debate. I'm sure people are like, no, it's not. It kind of is. There's just theories out there that, you know, maybe the Arkenstone was one of the Silmarils that just like got hidden. But I loved this theory, and I'm going to try finding it while we're still on the air, and it's going to take me a second.
If it's as big as they depict it in the Hobbit movie, though, he could not wear that on a crown.
And 3 of them, too?
I know. That crown weighed 35 pounds.
Heavy lies the crown.
Yeah.
So basically, this idea. So, like, did Feanor make the Arkenstone, or is the Arkenstone a Silmaril? The other possibility is that Aule makes the Arkenstone himself and puts it at the heart of the mountain. And this gives reason for the dwarves to consider it a holy jewel. I don't think it's a Silmaril, but I like the idea of Aule making it and hiding it in the mountain for his dwarves.
I see that. That makes sense.
Yes.
Oh, like the parents who go and hide like jewels in like their kids' sandboxes and be like, go have fun. You never know what's out there. It's a surprise.
But did he know that it would be slightly evil?
Yeah. Evil corrupts, the most pretty things sometimes. Like you can make something innocently and then a touch of selfishness and stuff can turn it,
Which is why I found it so interesting that when they first found the gems, they shared them with everyone.
Yeah.
But then Feanor makes the super, super shiny, very special gems. I mean, it seems like Melkor is the only one that like coveted it.
Uh-huh. Got it in one.
Yeah, would this have happened if Melkor wasn't around? Would someone else have coveted it too?
Did it. I don't know. Well, thank you for teaching me today.
You're welcome.
We learned a lot.
Oh my god.
And I'm sad about my boy. I thought he was going to be a good guy, but I guess not.
Well, is he a bad boy? I mean,
he's a bad boy.
Is Tony Stark a bad guy?
No. He had a rough beginning.
He just got him with the wrong crowd.
He had a rough childhood. Okay.
Yes. He did. He lost his mama.
Yeah. His mom basically said, because of you, I'm gonna die. You basically sucked my life force from me, son. I'm gonna die. But I hope that doesn't hang over you like a dark cloud for the rest of your life.
Well, remember, she had that quote, like, name me blameless in what is to come. Is basically what she said before she died.
Jeez.
Not my fault. Not my fault.
Not my fault.
All right. Well, until next week, I've been Ashley.
And I'm Abby. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And we'll see you next time.